I know all y'all have heard of werewolves before, but this movie? Nah, this ain't your average full moon story. Bro goes home to investigate one murder, gets bitten by a legendary beast, and somehow ends up becoming the biggest menace in the entire country. And trust me, this movie gets absolutely wild. Our movie opens with Ben Talbot wandering the woods at night when he's suddenly attacked by what appears to be some sort of beast. In the following weeks since his disappearance, his fiancée Gwen Conliffe reaches out to his brother Lawrence to help in the search. Now, upon his return, Lawrence is greeted by his father and Samson the guard dog, who clearly has better manners than most humans in this town. He offers his help, but is saddened to discover that his brother's body had already been found on the side of the road just the other day. In his grieving, Lawrence visits Ben's body, which is being kept in a butcher's cooler, because nothing says rest in peace like being stored next to the sausages. He's been gone for most of Ben's life and insists that he see his brother one last time. When he pulls back the sheet covering his brother's body, he's startled to discover that it has been disfigured and mutilated beyond recognition. Now at the local pub, a bunch of townsfolk discuss the mystery surrounding the many deaths in town. Some blame a bear, some blame gypsies. Classic small town move, blame whoever's not in the room. But one gentleman tells a similar story of a man who was mutilated by a beast so big that regular bullets didn't succeed in killing it. The beast killed a farmer and his flock about 25 years ago, and since then the wife melted down silver for bullets and refused to go out on a full moon. No notes. Honestly, that's just good survival instinct. So back at the house, Lawrence meets Gwen and gives her the last of Ben's things, a ring and a photo of Gwen. That night, Lawrence and his father discuss a different kind of beast that could have mutilated Ben the way it did. As an avid hunter, his father compares the markings found on Ben's body to that of tiger, although he admits that only humans were capable of such malicious mutilation. In addition, we find out that Ben was the negotiator between the family and the gypsies. Unsure of what to think, Lawrence and his father simply marvel at the moon before calling it a night. Later that night, Lawrence thinks back to his childhood with Ben and recalls a time when he and his brother awakened in the middle of the night only to find that their mother had committed suicide in the garden and their father was standing over her dead body. Lawrence was sent to an asylum in London for a year, having suffered from the event, and then to America to live with his aunt after that. So the next few days are bleak, and the funeral comes and goes. Before we go on,
Please, the recap of this particular movie took a lot of energy for me to make. Please subscribe to get me to 100 subscribers. I don't think it's really that much. Okay, back to the movie.
Lawrence and Gwen both mourn the loss of Ben and find solace in their similar relationship with his father, but Gwen apparently is too much like their mother. So the next day, Gwen leaves for home while Lawrence decides to stay and investigate his brother's death. With it being a full moon, Lawrence's dad requests that he stay inside in case of a murderer being out and about. However, Lawrence doesn't listen. Main character behavior never fails, and instead decides to visit the gypsy camp in an attempt to investigate his brother's disappearance. That same night, a mob of men come into the camp and blame the camp's dancing bear for the killings. They want atonement and demand that the bear dies, as they believe it's the killer. This quickly proves not to be the case, as the beast simultaneously attacks the camp during their discussion. Chaos breaks loose, and many people are mauled and killed. People attempt to hide and run, but the beast always seems to find them. Now, in the chaos, Lawrence attempts to kill the beast himself, but none of the shots land. He goes to save a woman from an attack, and continues his heroics by chasing after a little boy who got separated from the camp. When they make it to the clearing, the boy runs from him in fear. The dense fog and low visibility make it difficult to see, and unfortunately, Lawrence is caught by surprise and attacked by the beast. He's saved by a group of men, but it's too late. The beast has already sunk its teeth into Lawrence's neck. The gypsies want to let him die, worried about a curse, but their doctor refuses and saves him anyway. Bro really said, "Not on my watch." So the next few weeks are rough, and Lawrence falls in and out of fever coma. Gwen comes back to take care of him, but even so, he's haunted by nightmares. One day, miraculously, Lawrence wakes up fully healed. His arm, which was supposed to be completely paralyzed, is able once again. Even his scars healed remarkably fast. Nobody's sure what to think or make of it, and they chalk it up to good luck. Lawrence himself is unsure about the situation and questions if there was some truth to the gypsy stories later that night. Lawrence approaches their family friend saying about the many weapons he's been storing, convinced that perhaps there is in fact a curse lurking about. He keeps one with him along with a case of silver bullets. He claims that sometimes the monsters hunt you, which, the next day, Detective Francis Aberline comes to question Lawrence about his attack. While Gwen's okay with it, Lawrence's dad is against it. The debate is put to a close when Lawrence himself walks down and agrees to the interview. It's interesting to note that Samson, who did not like Lawrence at first, now follows him loyally. Dogs really do know something we don't. The detective questions Lawrence and his intentions, considering that he was once in an insane asylum and that there's no natural beast left in England. The detective thinks that Lawrence might be the killer. Lawrence resents the accusation and immediately sends him away. Now, sometime later, Lawrence and Gwen are talking by the water and skipping stones when Lawrence suddenly hears a band of horses in the distance. At the front of their house, a group of men have come to take Lawrence away. It's a full moon tonight, and since they know he survived a bite from the beast, they want to take him away to lock him up, or probably even kill him. Now, in their fear, they try to take him away by force, but are stopped by Lawrence's father. He fires a warning shot at the crowd and threatens to kill them for trespassing. Reluctant, they all leave and warn him about the curse. Now inside, Gwen tends to Lawrence's wounds. She tells him that the village is full of small-minded people, and she hates it. When she tries to touch his lip, he begins to hear her heartbeat. The heightened senses scare him, and he leaves abruptly. Later, he sees that his scar has completely healed without a trace. Now believing in the curse, he sends Gwen away for her own safety while the villagers all begin to prepare for another full moon. Silver bullets are made, bait is left out, and the villagers gather in numbers. Detective Aberline decides to camp out at the pub for the night, knowing it's better to stay with the potential victims rather than wander aimlessly in the night. So at the pub, the bartender insists that he investigate the Talbots and their curse. Unfortunately, a curse doesn't give him a search warrant, RIP due process. That night, Lawrence follows his father into a crypt below his mother's grave. There he finds a strange chair with many straps attached to it, in a room that's basically a shrine to his mother. There his father finds him and explains how his mother was what kept him.
I just want to remind to you again to subscribe and support my efforts.
Alive, and now that she's gone, he's basically dead. His father walks him out of the room and locks him in. His eyes shine like a beast in the dark, confirming that he is a werewolf too. It's then that his transformation begins. Slowly and painfully, he transforms into a beast and leaves the crypt to go on his murderous rampage. His howl is heard by the entire town, and he goes into town to hunt down the men who are hunting him. Detective Aberline witnesses the massacre and, to his disbelief, sees a beast kill everyone. Now, the next day, his father finds him bloodied and covered in dirt on the property. Remaining remarkably calm about the situation, he lets the mob of men take Lawrence away to an insane asylum. Now, at the asylum, he's tortured with primitive therapy methods. After weeks of torture, his father finally comes to visit him and reveals the truth behind their curse. During a trip to India, his father was bitten by a feral boy who seemed almost like a beast in the mountains. Thinking it was more comical than serious, he ignored the warnings of the natives and returned home. The first night back, he turned into a beast and killed his wife. And since then, he's had Singh lock him up in the crypt every full moon for 25 years. He did this until Gwen appeared, and with Gwen being so much like his late wife, he grew obsessed with her. When Ben admitted to wanting to marry Gwen and take her away, he got drunk and knocked Singh out cold. In his rage, and unable to lock himself up that night, he killed Ben. It was at that moment that he decided the beast should be let out to kill and run free. Lawrence vows to kill him, and he's left alone to ponder the truth. So later that night, his psychologist decides that the best way to prove Lawrence's insanity is to lock him in a room full of people to witness his transformation and prove to him that he's just being delusional. You can imagine how this.
Please, the recap of this particular movie took a lot of energy for me to make. Please subscribe to get me to 100 subscribers. I don't think it's really that much. Okay, back to the movie.
Backfires. As the full moon comes out from behind the clouds and transforms Lawrence into a werewolf, the doctors begin to panic as he begins to tear everyone apart. He throws his psychologist out the window into a fence. That's one way to leave a therapy session, and begins to run free into the city. He's jumping from rooftop to rooftop as he savagely rips apart civilians. Now, having witnessed the transformation himself, Detective Aberline has his men attempt to kill Lawrence, but nothing seems to work. Many people die as Lawrence makes his escape into the night, taking refuge under a bridge. When he finally transforms back into a human, he seeks out Gwen and tells her the truth behind his family's curse. Not fazed by the news, Gwen insists that she can find a way to help him. However, Lawrence refuses any further help from her and admits that he has feelings for her. She begs him to stay and proceeds to kiss him, but then gets interrupted when Aberline comes knocking at the door. He questions Gwen if she's seen Lawrence, but she denies ever seeing him. She's taken outside while they raid the house, but it's too late. Lawrence has already left and is on his way back home. Now, in the following days, Gwen does intensive research on the mythology of werewolves while Lawrence escapes into the countryside, making his way toward home. Now aware of the existence of monsters, Aberline and his men arm themselves with silver bullets. Eventually, Gwen finds the gypsies that Lawrence was taken to on the night of his attack, but unfortunately, they don't have any helpful advice and insist that she has to be the one to set him free. Aberline and his men are now occupying the town and are ready to hunt down Lawrence. When Lawrence finally makes it back to his home, the house is abandoned and Singh has been killed. Lawrence makes his way into Singh's room and arms himself with silver bullets that he knows Singh had. He slowly wanders the house in search of his dad, but instead finds Samson, who jumps out of the dark. His father makes his presence known by playing the piano in the study. When Lawrence spots him, he sees that one of Aberline's men has already been killed and his father is calmly waiting for him. Playing piano over a fresh body is villain behavior at its finest. Lawrence doesn't hesitate to pull the trigger, but it doesn't fire. The bullets were stripped of gunpowder many years ago. Unable to kill him, his father retaliates and overpowers him with his cane. Although he doesn't want to kill him just yet, he views Lawrence as the heir to his throne and wants him to properly ascend. He then takes him to the window, where they both witness the full moon and transform into their beastly forms. As fellow werewolves on equal ground, the two begin to fight. The house catches fire in the process, and it's a bloody mess. Lawrence seems to be losing for a majority of the fight, but turns the tides when he kicks his father into the fireplace, setting him on fire. Seeing him in excruciating pain, Lawrence ends his misery and decapitates him with one swing of his claws. With Lawrence established as the new king of beasts, Gwen rides into the manor and discovers his beastly form. He attempts to attack her, but Aberline comes to the rescue and fights him off. Now in their struggle, Lawrence goes and bites Aberline, but doesn't kill him. Aberline drops the gun with silver bullets, and Gwen takes it and runs for her life. Now, with Gwen running off into the distance, Lawrence chases after her and leaves his home to burn to the ground. Eventually, she finds herself in the woods by the water where they first talked. Now cornered, she begs Lawrence to get a hold of his senses. It seems to work at first, but with the wolves in the forest egging him on, he tries to kill her anyway. Left with no choice, she uses Aberline's gun and shoots Lawrence through the heart. The gunshot proves fatal as Lawrence transforms back into his human self. With his last dying breaths, he comforts Gwen and thanks her for saving him. He dies in her hands as Aberline and his men find her. Now, with the detective being the next to inherit the bite, it's only a matter of time before he transforms into a beast as well. And that's where our story ends and where our speculations begin. What they do with Aberline, we don't know. With the Talbots all dead and Gwen thoroughly traumatized, the last thing we see is the moon, and we wonder what other beasts are lurking in the night. So, Gwen had some serious loyalty to the Talbots, and despite her fiancé's death, she's still stuck around. Why do you think that is? Let us know in the comments section below. With the Roger recap.
Please, the recap of this particular movie took a lot of energy for me to make. Please subscribe to get me to 100 subscribers. I don't think it's really that much. Okay, back to the movie.